Story 1. I am the entitled Karen in this story. Hear me out, I seek forgiveness, and I promise I used my Karenness for good. I did not go full Karen. I never asked to speak to a manager, but it was close. Confession time. So about 7 days ago, I was looking for graphic arts software. I found a program that offered a 7-day free trial. The software was junk. I spent 2 days just trying to download the software, and it never did download. And it made me download 10 other useless programs that I never downloaded. By the end of the 7 days, I never even got to use the program because it was still downloading. I figured, okay, my trial would start once the download was complete. I'll just cancel the download and tell the site to cancel my order and be done. No big deal. They charged me $149.85 the second I canceled the download. I did not know this till the next day when I went to pay a bill and my card was declined. I checked my account on my phone. Y'all, I'm livid. I go back to the site to see my account is active and that they ignored my request to cancel the service. The reason was that I did not pay the $44.81 cancellation fee. Nope, not gonna happen. I find the chat box for customer services and let them have it. I channeled every Karen I have ever had to deal with. I informed them I did not want tech support, I was not interested in troubleshooting, and I did not want a discount on their expletive here product. The only thing I would accept was a full refund, and for them to waive the cancellation fee. Every time they tried a new tactic, I repeated refund, waive the fee. Well, I can't do that. It is against our policy. I can assist you in downloading the product. Full refund, waive the fee. Our policy clearly states we can't waive the fee, and we will not give you a refund. I don't care. I found 6 sites that I downloaded, and all work for free. Why would I pay for your bad service when I can't even download it? Full refund and waive the fee. We can offer you the service for $9.99 a month plus waive for the first 6 months. Full refund and waive the fee. We can't do that. It's against policy. Look, we can go around and around here with you trying to convince me to take your awful offers. But we both know what will happen. I'll just get more mad and then call for your manager. They will try this for another 30 minutes and then get tired of dealing with me because unlike most Karens, I work retail and know how this goes. You cave just to shut me up and get me out of your hair. Normally this tactic makes me mad because most Karens are just cheap. In this case, you guys put out an inferior product and hid that behind stall tactics. You made it so hard to download that it would waste the customer's time and energy, and they will just pay the fee to be done with you. I'm not that person. I know my way around computers, and I am tech support for my family. You are going to waive that fee and give me a full refund, because if you don't, I'm reporting this whole site to the fraud department here in my country, and let them deal with you. So tell me how you want to play this. Wave the white flag and do as I ask, or play ball with the government. What we are going to do is, as a good faith show on our part, issue a full refund, and we are going to waive the cancellation fee. We are sorry you feel our product did not meet your needs. The fund will show up on the card used in 3-5 business days, and we will send an email to you in 24 hours to let you know that the account has been closed down and no more charges will be added to this card. Thank you. Will you stay online to give us a review? No. Good day. Yeah, I still feel dirty after 5 showers and a bath in bleach. Judge me. Internet, I need to be made clean again. Story 2. I'm heated, and it has nothing to do with the rising temperature. This is absolutely infuriating that these types of people actually exist. So, I have 2 dogs, a 14-year-old Chihuahua and a 4-year-old Chihuahua Beagle mix. I decided to take them to a nearby park to let them get some fresh air, as they've just been lounging around pretty much all week, and I figured they could use the exercise. I grabbed a few treats, a gallon of water and collapsible bowls, their favorite ball and stuffed toy, hopped in the car, and headed out. The day was quite nice, not too hot, but definitely starting to warm up, and I figured we could enjoy a nice lunch when we got back. We arrived at the park. and there were a few people there. 2 families, it seemed, and a couple of people playing volleyball not too far away. I parked, found a nice, big empty spot with plenty of running space, and let the girls run loose. We were playing around for a good 5 minutes at this point, and I was trying to keep my balance with my walking cane so they wouldn't knock me over as they ran back toward me and into my legs like I was the final bowling pin. I'll call my Chihuahua J and my Chihuahua Beagle mix C. I'll note that C really, and I mean really, likes to play. With anyone, everyone, anything, and everything. That's mostly my father's doing, from spoiling and coddling her as a pup when she was 2 months old. She was never disciplined, spoiled with human food so much that she wouldn't eat regular dog or puppy food, disobeys, and rarely listens when you call her name. She's always wagging her tail for whatever reason so much that her entire hip shakes, and she'll get exhausted just from being happy. I nicknamed her Fish Butt. At some point, there were some kids running around at a nearby jungle gym, laughing and playing, doing what kids do. Some adults were trying to gather them all up and load them into their van. C saw this and decided, hey, that looks like fun. I like fun. I'm gonna go have fun, and ran off to join in. J was chilling in the grass next to her water bowl and stuffed toy. So I called out to C, walking toward her, whistling and snapping my fingers that usually gets her attention when it's time for food or a walk, trying to get her to come back. No luck. She kept moving and reached the family, running around happily between everyone's feet like a cat with a burst of energy whose life goal is to trip everyone it sees. The family was almost loaded up into the van, and one last kid stopped and bent down to pet C. I was thinking, oh good, they stopped her from running off, and kept walking. The mother of the group was buckling a kid into the seat and turned around to notice C, looked up at me, back at C, then picked her up and put her in the kid's arms. She closed the car door and ushered her kid to the other side, hurrying them to get inside. I was close enough to even hear her say, go, go. I yelled out, hey, stop, that's my dog, and hurried toward the car as quickly as I could with my cane. Out of the car stepped who I assumed was the father, and maybe an uncle. Not sure. It was an older gentleman with gray hair. The father stepped in front of me and put his hand on my chest, stopping me in my tracks. Because I was walking quickly, the sudden stop almost caused me to fall back, but luckily I maintained my balance. Father, you uncle, mother, me yours truly. Father. Whoa, hey now, that's far enough. Me? That's my dog. She just took my dog. I'm shouting at this point, making sure I get the attention of anyone else around. Uncle. No, tisk, 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 he says as he gets in my face and wags his finger at me. He's ours. We found him. We adopted him. Legally. Father. You, stop. Be quiet. The mother was on the other side of the car, watching us, holding her kid's shoulder still not inside the car. Me. You like that finger? Then you'll keep it out of my face. Give me back my dog. Uncle waves his hand at me and scoffs. Father, that's not your dog, and he can put his finger wherever he wants. He jabbed his finger in my chest. Me. I took a step back and lifted my cane up. Don't let this thing fool you. Give me back my dog. Now, I'm not intimidating by any means. I'm 5'7" and wobble around with a cane. The father was a foot taller than me, and despite having a beer belly, he had some muscle on his arms. The closest I can get to intimidating is my serious face and loud voice. But I am very defensive when it comes to family. Mother, shouting from the other side of the car. You already have a dog. We like this one. Kid's name deserves it. Look, she's so cute. Me, give me back my dog. Father, you better get your dog and get out of here before you get hurt, little man. Jay had made her way over and was standing a few feet behind me. Me, Jay, car. Jay turned and headed to the car. An older and a younger woman came up from behind the uncle, who had been silent this whole time, but was standing by to the side. Younger woman. Hey, no. That's not right. We'd been here when you arrived, and you didn't have the dog." "He did." She pointed at me. "Father," to the uncle, "get in the car." The uncle complied and got in. The father took C from the kid's arms and set her on the ground. "Kid, awa, bye doggy, you're cute." C ran off to join Jay at my car, but not before running to pick up her ball and Jay's stuffed toy at the same time, failing and running back to the car empty-handed. "Uncle, we better not see you around, or you're gonna get messed up." I bit my tongue and set my cane down, glaring at them as they got in their car and drove off, the two women standing next to me. Once the family was gone, the two asked if I was all right and if I needed anything. I said no, thanked them for stepping in, apologized to them for having to step in, and once everything was said and done, I headed back to my dogs and picked up their stuff, back into the car and back home. I was absolutely fuming the entire way back. I kept glancing in the mirror at C, who was sitting in the middle seat, panting and wagging her tail like nothing happened. She was just happy to be there. Jay was sitting in the passenger seat, acting like she hadn't just watched her sister nearly get stolen by strangers. I got home, gave them some treats and extra attention, and sat down to calm myself. But I couldn't shake the anger. It wasn't just the attempted theft, it was the audacity. They saw a happy, friendly little dog and decided they were entitled to her. They didn't ask questions. They didn't check for a collar or tags. They didn't look around to see if she had an owner nearby. They just scooped her up and tried to drive off like it was no big deal. And when I confronted them, they doubled down. Not only did they try to keep her, but they also acted like I was in the wrong. I'm still mad thinking about that father poking my chest and trying to intimidate me, and the uncle acting smug like it was some kind of victory. And the mother seriously, saying they liked this one and that her kid deserved my dog. What does that even mean? That's not how pets work. That's not how anything works. And that comment from the uncle at the end, "We better not see you around or you're gonna get messed up." Like what? You tried to steal my dog, and now I'm the one who needs to be afraid. I seriously considered calling the cops after I got home. I had their license plate memorized and I was still fired up, but I wasn't sure if anything would actually come of it. It's not like they got away with her. And even though they tried, it's not exactly easy to prove intent in that situation. Still, I filed a report online, just in case. I included the description of the car, what happened, the license plate, everything. It probably won't go anywhere, but if these people make a habit of this, maybe it'll help down the line. I'm just glad I got her back before they left. From now on, both of them are staying on a leash when we're in public. I don't care how much C wants to run around, her safety isn't worth the risk. She's a sweet, happy dog who thinks everyone is her friend. And unfortunately, there are people out there who'll take advantage of that. So yeah, watch your pets, watch your kids, and apparently watch out for grown adults who think they're entitled to whatever they want just because it makes their kids smile. Story 3. When my brother got married, his bride, now my sister-in-law, had very specific expectations. She wanted everyone in the family to wear their wedding colors, and we all did. People flew in from out of state. Everyone made an effort to make her feel celebrated. The day before the wedding, she made some offhanded but clearly pointed remarks about how our side of the family never takes anything seriously, and she wasn't expecting us to take this seriously either. The comments made their rounds, and feelings were hurt before the wedding even began. But we still showed up, looked great, and participated. Fast forward to getting the wedding photos and video. Not a single photo of our side of the family was posted. Not one. In the entire 3-minute highlight reel, no faces from our family, except a 3-second clip of my parents with the bride and groom. The rest of us, it's like we never existed. I texted her cordially and asked if she could send me the pictures with just our siblings, since none had been posted. She responded that we never took those pictures. That's wild because I remember helping people adjust corsages for them. She doubled down on the gaslighting. I gave it 6 months and asked again. She suddenly had no idea what I was talking about. Fine. Here's where the petty revenge comes in. I'm getting married in 8 days. I've been engaged for 6 months and planning this moment since she tried to erase us. I hired a great photographer and videographer. What she doesn't know is that the videographer has a secret mission: make it look like she's getting all the attention. Track her. Hover near her like she's the star of the show. She will feel so seen. And then, the final cut. She won't appear for even 1 second, just like she made sure we didn't. I didn't even invite her originally. Word must have gotten out because she cornered me at a family dinner and said, "Unfortunately, I have to work the day before and after your wedding, but I should still be able to make it." I was so stunned I just said, "That's fine. The Airbnb's booked whether you're there or not." So now she's coming. Ugh. To cope, I spelled her name wrong on the wedding invite on purpose. That was my first move. The video blackout will be my last. Not asking for advice. Not asking if it's too mean. It's not. It's exactly fair. Happy to finally talk about it freely. Story 4. So yesterday was my 5-year wedding anniversary with my second husband. Thanks to COVID and his working 12-plus-hour days, it took some preparation to make sure we would be able to go out to dinner together like we usually do. So he had to make arrangements to leave work early, which at his job basically means going crazy early to make up for it. And I made reservations at a local restaurant we like through a friend who works there, because they are so crazy understaffed that they've cut their hours back significantly. So we showed up about 6 p.m. last night, and the place is crazy busy. Note that it's a small place that only has about 20 tables plus a bar. There is a line outside the door about a dozen people deep. But I know the staff due to having worked there several years ago. It's a pretty good place to work, so they tend to retain their better staff. I gave them our reservation information, and the hostess said they would have a table ready for us in about 5 minutes, and we could wait at the bar or outside. We ended up going to the bar to get a bottle of wine to start the evening. Hostess comes back and says the table is ready and takes us to the downstairs dining room to seat us. In the short time since the table has been cleared, the people at the next table have pushed their table together with the table we were supposed to get and spread all their many appetizers and entrees over both tables and spread out around it. Note that these tables seat 4 people normally, and they had 5 with an extra chair at the end. Hostess says, "Excuse me, but that table was reserved for 6 p.m., and we need it back immediately." So the whole table was older women, probably in their 60s. I'm guessing they were in town for the annual reunion that our local college hosts for all their graduates. They start in on the poor hostess complaining and moaning that they need more space because their table was so crowded with food, and they said they were almost done and we could just wait until they left to sit down. Hostess reiterates that the table was reserved and that she is going to take it back, and she starts moving all their food back to their original table. One of the women jumps up and starts screaming at her that she has no right to touch their food, and starts giving the whole blah 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 spiel of, "Don't you know who I am?" At this point my husband, who is exhausted from his workday, looks straight in her face and tells her, "Lady, this is my anniversary. I've just worked a 12-hour day starting at 4 and so I could be home in time for this dinner, and you are not going to screw it up for me. How would you like it if you made dinner reservations for your anniversary and someone else prevented you from using them?" Karen starts hemming and hawing and giving him a generally hard time, but to our surprise, her friends take our side and tell her to shut up and sit down and let this poor couple have a nice dinner. I was shocked because I had honestly assumed they were all a bunch of Karens. She just got all red in the face and said fine, whatever, and finally sat back down. She gave us dirty looks all through the rest of the time her group was there though, and it didn't make for a great anniversary dinner. But the manager, who is a friend from when I worked there, showed up at the end of our meal with a complimentary dessert, so that was a nice ending to the whole thing. Story 5. So I used to work third shift at a carpet warehouse in northwest Georgia. This area is known as the carpet capital of the world. I worked as a lift truck driver at a distribution center. Our main job was to receive rolls of carpet from the manufacturing side, cut them down to order lengths and ship them back out or put them back in the warehouse. The company had an expected production rate of 350 rolls counted over the course of a night. As long as you met production, there was no issue. If you worked at a consistent rate without overloading and had no issues, you could make 425 rolls. Occasionally, you did have issues actually finding the particular order in a warehouse with 1,000s of carpet rolls. The company system had a computer system that told you what roll to get next and where to take it. If you happened to not scan a roll within 15 minutes, it would send an alert to the supervisors, who would then get on a golf cart to go looking for you. On to the story. I was consistently pulling 400+ rolls per night, as I would take short breaks as I was never hungry and would get sleepy. After about a year of this, 10 minutes before break, I was having trouble finding a roll. As soon as the break hit, I stopped looking and went to break. This would easily take about 10 minutes just to get there. Once break was done, I was back to looking for my roll. By this point, I had another 10 minutes to find it. This was added to the 10 minutes before break that I could find it by the time I was pulling my roll off the bin. The manager had shown up in his golf cart. He just gave me a death stare and took off. By the time I took it to the central location, my boss was waiting there with a write-up in hand. He asked me to get off my lift truck and follow him to the office. He told me that this was because I took more than 15 minutes to pull a roll and didn't skip it. This was a slap in the face as far as I was concerned. From that point on, I never ever did more than a few more rolls than the required production rate. I would carry a clipboard and count my tally for the night. About a month or so of my not exceeding my production, I got called up to the office one night, and this is how the conversation went. "Hey boss, what's up? Come in, take a seat." "I'm fine standing." "What's up?" "Come on in, take a seat." "Is something going on? I need to get back to getting my night's production." "Well, don't worry about that. We won't count today against you." "Okay, what's up?" "Is everything okay? Are you doing all right at home?" Me, visually confused. "I'm fine. What is this about?" "I'm not just a boss. We are a family, and it's my responsibility as a boss to make sure that everyone is okay. The reason I called you up is because you have had a sudden drop in production about a month ago, and we were wondering if you had some family issues going on." "Nope. My production is where the company expects it to be." "I'm not saying that it's not. You were one of the few employees that could get 400+ rolls a night, and now you are barely getting production." "But it's 350, right?" "Yes, you are meeting production, but you would do 400+ rolls a night, and as a team, your additional rolls would help out your other team members who were struggling." "Wait, you were using my roll count to go towards someone else. Why was I never given part of their paycheck?" "That's not how this goes. We are a team, and we have a collective production rate that is a team requirement." I give an internal sigh at this nonsense. "We have some teammates who have slower equipment or have trouble with hand-eye coordination, and your additional rolls would help them with their roll count go towards the collective department production rate." "Okay, so what do you want me to do about it?" "As far as I'm concerned, the company requires 350, and that is what I am doing. Right? Can you tell me why is it that you dropped all of a sudden?" "Fine. Let me take a seat." I pulled out my wallet and started to pull out the signed write-up that he gave me a month ago. I slid it over to him. My plan was coming to fruition, as I somehow felt that this moment would come somehow. "What's this?" "This is a write-up that you gave me a month ago. Do you remember?" That night I had already met my 350 production requirement. I was stuck on a roll 10 minutes before break, and took another 10-12 minutes after break. That night I already had my 350 rolls. Do you remember? I was met with a surprised Pikachu face. "After you wrote me up that night when I already had more than my expected production, why would I ever want to give you more than I have to? Do you really not remember this?" It's a good thing that I held on to this, huh? After about 10 minutes of silence. Will that be it? Can I go back to doing my work? Yeah, go ahead. Story 6. Here's an old one from around 9 years ago. As past readers know, my older brother is the type of person who lets the tiniest bit of power go to his head. So if he wanted things his way, he'd try like hell to make it happen. My dad, even now with a bad knee and bad back, is a camping enthusiast. It also was always his way of taking a vacation without spending a lot of money. Back then he insisted we all camp together in summer once a year. Back then we never had anything fancy to go camping like trailers or RVs. Just tents. That year that I finally decided to buy a bigger tent because I'd been using a small-ish one until then. Before having my own tent, I was forced to share one with my brother. Those days really sucked. If there's one thing I'd always disliked about tent camping back then, it's that I was never comfortable when trying to sleep. Either sleeping on the ground, sleeping on an air mattress, or on foam padding. It was never comfortable. Some people act like air mattresses are comfortable, but they really aren't. When fully inflated, they feel hard, and when underinflated, the air moves around too much depending on how you lay on it. And most air mattresses I've used sprung leaks, and were always going flat by morning. So that year I decided to look into something better. A friend of mine showed me this cot he'd recently bought. It was a brand called Timber Ridge, and it was pretty damn comfortable. Almost like a real bed, so I decided I was going to find one of these for myself, and I did. Got one used for $100 or so on Marketplace, and I got a nice-sized tent to go with it from the same seller. I still have that cot too. Back then I was driving my old Camry wagon. I do miss that car from time to time, but having my Tundra is just better. No one really expected me to show up with a better tent and a cot. My dad applauded my new stuff, but my brother was his usual self about it and said cots were nothing special. Then he mocked me for buying the cot and tent used, but that night I slept like a log. My brother slept on an air mattress like usual, and I guess thought I'd have a terrible night, because I usually didn't sleep well when camping back then, but I woke up that morning feeling good, and I did brag about how good the cot and more spacious tent were. That made my brother fume. Later I caught him taking a nap on my cot after I'd put it out to lay in the sun, and just got angry that I'd woken him up. He loved the cot though, and was very upset I made him get off of it. We have a family policy. If it's 100% yours and you bring it, you get to use it when you want it. Later my brother gave me that age-old, "I've been thinking" line. He tried to pull older brother seniority and said he'd be using my tent and cot for the rest of the camping trip. I told him no in an instant, but he tried to dismiss me. We were about to get in a fight about it when our parents intervened. My brother lied and said I'd told him he could use my tent and cot, but no one believed him because that's how he always was. Dad even played it off as him being a bad joker, which made him fume. Then he just stormed back to his own tent like a kid. Later that evening after a hike, I discovered he'd actually taken my cot from my tent and put it in his own. We had an argument and Dad made him return the cot to my tent, and my brother sulked the whole time he was doing it. Later on at dinner, he had a tantrum over how the air mattress sucked compared to my cot, and I chimed in about that being the reason why I bought it in the first place. We spent the rest of the camping trip with my brother glaring daggers at me. I half expected him to do something like take a knife and cut holes in my tent, but he and I both knew that Dad would make him pay for anything of mine he broke, and then I'd just replace them with the same kind of stuff. He ended up having a miserable time sleeping on his air mattress, because in his own words, once he'd slept on the cot, the air mattress was just no good to him anymore. And when it was time to leave, he said next time he was getting a better tent and cot than mine. I just waved and told him good luck with that, which prompted him to tell me to go screw myself. Dad actually smacked him upside the head for that. I still chuckle remembering it. I knew he'd likely follow through with getting better stuff back then, and he did, but I'm glad I got to stick it to him that time. Later in the summer my dad insisted on another family trip. That's when my brother showed up with a new cot and tent, and bragged about how he bought them new, unlike me. But he spent 3 or 4 times what I did on my tent and cot. The cots were the same brand too. But while mine was green, his had grass camo printed on the fabric. He was really irked when I just kept ignoring his bragging too. Once he realized I just didn't care, things moved on to be more or less normal. But he still went out of his way to get on my nerves. Of course, when I bought a truck, and then later camper trailer, that opened up a whole new can of worms. My brother always had to make everything a pissing contest. He's only recently been getting better about not doing that, as my older post may show the reasons why. Edit. I've noticed my post has a lot of people curious about cots and what good ones there are. Well, here's my take on them. First thing is, make sure you get a cot with a decent weight limit. Mine can hold over 350 pounds. You don't want a cot that uses metal springs for tension. Those springs will bend and wear out easily, and cots that use them generally have a weight limit of around 200 pounds. They are also generally flat and not very comfortable, and the springs are noisy. My Timber Ridge cot uses bungees instead of springs, and instead of just being flat, it cradles me a bit, so it's pretty comfortable to sleep on, and I'd still be using it if I didn't have my camper trailer now. The cot is currently in storage at my parents' house. My dad used to be a tent camper, but my parents use a pop-up camper now so he can sleep in a better bed due to his bad back. Secondly, what makes a good cot is padding. Yes, there are super lightweight cots that fold out of a small carry-on, but they aren't very comfortable and are way too complex and easy to break. Take it from the camping enthusiast, though I'm more of a glamper now. Anyway, my Timber Ridge cot has good padding on it, and using it in conjunction with a sleeping bag is great. However, if you're using blankets or just sleeping on it, as is, a cot is great with the summer heat, because since you aren't sleeping on a mattress, cool air collects under the cot and cools your back. Not great in the winter, so use a sleeping bag then. But great in the summer. Cots with good padding will keep you comfortable. Cots like mine are easy to find for sale online. You can order one, or you can get online to whatever site you use to buy used things off other people, and see if someone is selling one locally. You can get a good cot like that a lot cheaper depending on the seller.